Match day 4 recap. Rowdy Sports, this is Peach coming at you live from my kitchen. Not so live. Either way, Germany versus Curacao, Ivory Coast versus Ecuador, Netherlands versus Japan, and Sweden versus Tunisia. We had some fucking bangers of games today. Absolute awesome fucking games. Let's talk about Germany versus Curacao first. 2 goals from Kai Havertz, the opening goal from Nemcha with a rocket, an absolute missile. This was a big game for Germany coming back after getting knocked out in the group stages of the last World Cup to start on this note, 7-1. Giving away that goal was a pretty big downer, I would say, from a German aspect, but ultimately a very, very good start to the tournament for the Germans. My man of the match initially was going to be Nemcha, but God, that second goal that Kai Havertz scored at the end in the dying minutes of that game, that chip was so good. I have to give it up to Kai Havertz. It really was an absolute stunner. If you didn't watch this game, I feel bad for you because it was the best game in my opinion of the day. And there were 3 very good games today. But yeah, Kai Havertz, man of the match of this for me. Players like a lot of players had a lot of points in this. So if you were paying attention in fantasy, like players like Joshua Kimmich, who was taking all of the spot kicks, all of them. Him and Brown took every single spot kick. Brown was taking them from the corners, and Kimmich was taking them in the middle of the field. Sometimes players were going to when they were up 6+, I think that anybody was getting their opportunity at that point because everyone was trying to score, even substitutes were coming on and scoring. It was a rough beating for Curacao here, but it is what it is. This is the World Cup and that's what happens sometimes. And Germany loved to get a 7-1. Did it against Brazil. No big deal. Moving on to Ivory Coast versus Ecuador. The sub, Ahmad, with the only goal in this game. The post got shook a lot. Hincapié looked very dangerous on the left, opened up play a lot for the Ecuadorians. And Moise Caicedo took a lot of the spot kicks within that game, which is not usually his MO, especially for Chelsea. He's usually just a demanding defensive midfielder who just kind of dictates the tempo of a game. He was literally taking all their corners, which is really, really wild to see because he has a goal in him too. He can launch a missile from outside the box. So I don't know what the thought process there is from Ecuador, but it wasn't like it wasn't paying off. They just could not finish their dinner. They hit the post 3 times, or they hit the bar 3 times, and in the dying minutes, Ahmad comes on, gets a goal. He's got to be the man of the match to have ice in your veins, to come on, get a goal in the 90th minute of a game, which doesn't look like any goal is going to come from that game. It was very, very good. He arguably should have started. It should have been him and Pepe on the wings, and somehow Ahmad was on the bench, which was absolutely wild. Then he comes on, scores, man of the match performance, in my opinion. End of story. Moving on to Netherlands versus Japan, 2-2. The opener came from a goal from a corner for Virgil van Dijk, with a Virgil van Dijk header, the captain leading the strike in the second half of the match. The first half was pretty end-to-end, no goals, but in the second half, 4 goals. It was a pretty great game to watch from end to end. From beginning to end. It was a good game. Japan really took it to the Netherlands too. Nakamura had an outstanding game. Not just for his goal, but his all-round play. He was everywhere. He was literally everywhere. And if you're looking for a great buy down for fantasy picks, if you're looking for a great prop better for fantasy picks or for sport betting, you want to look at Nakamura for Japan. Seriously, he was doing everything for this club, or for this for his country that today. The third goal from Crescenzio Somerville was a stunner, to say the least. It killed the Japanese vibe in the stadium until this second equalizer. But that goal was outrageous. And you could see how much it meant to the player. Getting the start, he ran over to the sideline after scoring and hugged Ruud van Nistelrooy, that bum. To just, because they believed in him. They believed in him. He had a great start to the season, got injured with West Ham, and then West Ham got relegated. Even still, he's starting for the Netherlands in the World Cup, which is pretty outstanding to say. It really shows a lot in his character, especially with players like Memphis Depay on the bench. Somerville, had a pretty great game in all respects, but the equalizer from Daichi Kamada in the 89th minute was outstanding. I mean, the old adage goes, if at first you don't succeed, keep crossing the ball till it fucking goes in, right? I mean, they took cross after cross after cross after cross, so much so that the announcers were like, are they really trying to beat the Netherlands for height? Because the Japanese are not historically tall individuals. But Daichi Kamada, he got there. It doesn't matter how it goes in, just as long as it goes in, you know what I mean? 2-2, game ends that way. Probably one of the games of the tournament, to be completely honest. And it may be the game of the tournament when it comes towards the end. We'll see during the knockout stages. But yeah, my man of the match of this game has definitely got to be Nakamura, though. I mean, he was absolutely outstanding. I'm going to bet on him the next time I see him for sure. All right, moving on to Sweden versus Tunisia. Gyökeres and Isak, both with a goal and an assist in this game. And I've got to say, wow, they look real dangerous. Sweden on the power scale are 29th. I have a whiteboard with all of the info written on it. 29th in the FIFA power ranking is... That's not their number? Oh, it's our power ranking? No, there's no way. That's FIFA power ranking. That's FIFA power ranking. Because we wouldn't put them at 29. It doesn't matter. Either way, I'm saying 29. And I think that's super unjust, especially after this 5-1 win against Tunisia. 3 goals in the first half. 2 to Sweden, 1 to Tunisia. The first goal came through a smash, dude. An absolute rocket into the top corner. But the second goal, the layoff from Victor Gyökeres, he gets clattered into, and I cannot believe they did not check for foul play after the fact. But he sends Isak on a run that Isak finishes beautifully into the bottom right corner, takes the player out, takes the player down the line, cuts back in, around that player, around the keeper, bottom right corner, bang, boom. What a goal. Ends the half 2-1. Going into the third half, pretty similar story where Isak then sets up Victor Gyökeres. Isak steals the ball at the other end of the field off of a very lackadaisical pass into the defense from the goalkeeper from Tunisia. He just rolled the ball in, and Isak just capitalized on it, set up Victor for an incredible goal for their third goal. And the fourth and fifth goal were nothing to scoff at either. Isak had 2 assists then. He had 1 goal and 2 assists because he got a light touch on that other missile that got launched into the box. I mean, Sweden are a force to be reckoned with strictly because of the 2 wrecking balls they have up top. Victor Gyökeres, Alexander Isak. These are players to bet on. In fantasy, they're probably going to be more expensive. They'll probably be your buy-ups, the people that you want to buy into. Definitely look at that. But in prop betting, you should almost always be betting on goals, assists, or shots on target. They're going, no matter what, they're always going to have at least 1 shot on target in the game, period. They just are. I mean, they are goal hawks, goal threats, whatever you want to call them. They're bagmen. They're bad men. They're very, very good, and I'm excited to see how Sweden play through this tournament. They're my dark horse, if anybody, because of those 2 players. And today, I think we saw it more than ever with a 5-1 win. Either way, those are our match recaps of day 4. Thank you for tuning into Rowdy Sports. This is Peach. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe. And